and welcome back to the Pioneer Voice. I'm Danielle Collar, and we are so excited to have our dual enrollment program today. And we have Greta Greene and Pam Kelley. Thank you, ladies, for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, we're excited to be with you.
So tell me a little bit, we want to learn a little bit about you. So what is your role in dual enrollment?
Well, I am the director of dual enrollment. So I kind of oversee everything and the staff. We're a department of 7 people right now, serving lots of students. So I get the joy of working with everyone in the department and kind of heading up the department.
That's great. And what about you, Greta?
Yes, Pam's a great leader. And so we've actually been together for 4 years. So I started in this role, and she and I have done that together for the last 4 years. I'm the recruiter, and so I go out to the schools or do interest sessions here on this campus, orientation on this campus for dual enrollment students, just letting the community know what dual enrollment is. We have partner schools in all 4 of our counties, and about 70 high schools and even home schools. And so, yeah, just telling them about dual enrollment and helping them with their applications, registration, and even orientation, seeing it through.
That's great. So how did you get involved with dual enrollment?
Well, actually, my first experience with dual enrollment was as a dual enrollment parent. So my oldest daughter did dual enrollment at Jefferson State before I ever worked at Jefferson State. So that was my first experience. Then I came to work at Jeff State in 2018. And in 2019, I was the office manager for the Associate Dean of Enrollment Services. Mm-hmm. And I got to assist in the dual enrollment office during that time because it was an office of one person at that point. And so when she got a lot of stuff that she needed to do, I would help her. And I just really fell in love with the position and thought that I would have a lot to add to that area because she was young. She did a great job. But she really encouraged me to pursue dual enrollment because she thought my perspective as a parent of a dual enrollment student would be very beneficial. So then I became the dual enrollment coordinator and later became the director. And during that time, I had 2 other children who went through dual enrollment.
That's great. Yeah. And how about you, Greta?
So mine's kind of similar. Yeah. So all 3 of mine did dual enrollment, and so I got to, it's really a great perspective to come into because we're not far removed from our parents. And so we can relate to them really easy that way. And so then the twins had their senior year, and I came to Jeff State part-time through their senior year, and she went into dual enrollment, and everybody was congratulating her in her new position. And I remember looking at her in the hall, and I said, I don't know, but I think you're going to need help in that department because we knew this. And I said, and if anything ever gets posted, I'm going to apply. And I don't even know if she remembers that, but that's exactly what happened. They created a new position to have a recruiter, and I applied. And as they say, the rest is history. I started in dual enrollment in the fall of 21.
That is so wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you both make a great team.
We do.
I know you have an incredible team that help you. So for those who may not know about dual enrollment, what exactly is dual enrollment?
So dual enrollment is an opportunity for eligible high school students who attend one of our partner schools to take college classes while they're still in high school. It's one of the rare times in life that you get to put in one effort and you get 2 benefits from that one effort. Because that class that you take, it is a college class, so you start your college transcript and get college credit for the class. But you also get credit for the class at your high school, and it counts towards your graduation requirements for high school. So for students, it seems like a win-win for them because they get to do the class once instead of doing a high school version of a class and then going on and taking the same class at a higher level in college.
And who would be eligible to take dual enrollment? You mentioned high school, but who all is eligible?
You want me to?
Sure.
Okay. So we've got 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, and they need a 2.5 unweighted GPA. And they need to be a part of a partner school. So that means that the high school that they attend has an agreement for dual with Jefferson State, and they can obtain that if they don't have one, although our partner schools are pretty prevalent in our community, and they need to be in our service area.
Okay.
So, for example, if there's a community college that's closer to that person's residence, then they would need to seek out that community college.
Okay.
So we all have territories for community college.
Okay. And you mentioned partner schools. So how does a school become a partner school?
So the first thing that we have to do is we establish a dual enrollment agreement with that school. So they would just email dualenrollment@jeffersonstate.edu, and we can get that agreement going. We would send an email with the agreement, just general information about dual enrollment. And then once we get the agreement back, we go meet with the counselor, or if it's a homeschool, we oftentimes will just do a phone call meeting with them and let them know the processes for getting enrolled and answer any questions that they have. Larger schools, we also offer to send Greta out and do an interest session or help with applications or registration.
Okay, great. And so you also mentioned homeschool. Are homeschool students eligible?
They are. So we work with homeschool cover schools, but we also work with homeschoolers who are part of an independent homeschool, which means they're not doing a cover school, it's just their family. So we can work with both of those classifications of homeschoolers.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about what the benefits are of dual enrollment. Now, you touched on that a little bit, but how does dual enrollment help that high school student?
You want to take that
Sure,
one?
sure. So I think that some of the benefits that might be missed, I think sometimes we focus a lot on the credit, and that is a huge benefit, that you get a college credit and build a college transcript the same time that you get the credit at the high school level as well. But some of the benefits are learning. I mean, like when I go out and do an interest session, some of the terms are the first times that students maybe have heard college terms that we introduce. They'll learn the difference between what is an AA and an AS degree or an AAS degree. They'll get to complete their own their own college application. So they're applying for college. It'll be a high school dual enrollment college applications. They'll become a college student and have the benefits of a college student here. So for them to be able to do that and answer some questions they may have never even seen before.
Right.
And so we talk about some of the questions that may be new to them. They've just never seen them. And it takes some time. The steps are very simple, but it does take some concerted time to get those steps done. So navigating the portal, a student portal, navigating how to pay through the student portal, navigating Canvas. So all of those things you think that you get exposed to when you have a lot of support in your environment. And that is huge.
That is huge.
That is huge. And their parents can be right beside them. I always say, please, please, please don't do this for them, because that cheats them really out of that experience. And so when they go to do that next time after they graduate high school, then what was new is not new anymore. They know the answer. So there's some benefits there that are not academic benefits as far as a credit is concerned. But there are other benefits as well.
Right. And I think anything that a student can learn while they still have all of the support, when they're in high school doing dual enrollment, they have the support of our office, of their counselors at their school, of their parents, family members, maybe older siblings who have done dual enrollment. So anything they can learn before they leave home. Leaving home for college is such an adjustment on its own.
Absolutely.
So all the things that they learn in dual enrollment while they're still at home are so helpful. So learning how to navigate Canvas, which is where they do their classes. And then also just having the confidence that they completed a college class successfully. So that student who maybe doesn't know if college is right for them and they successfully complete a college class through dual enrollment, then all of a sudden they're like, I can do college. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So those are some of the non-academic benefits. Of course, we talked about the obvious gaining the credits while you're still in high school. And parents are always excited to hear about the cost savings in dual enrollment. So definite benefits, but we always want to maximize those benefits that aren't just building the college transcript and saving money, because there's so much more to benefit from.
Absolutely.
And I would say benefits of advocating for themselves with their instructor. that may be the first time they've really had to, without a parent, reach out and say, I don't quite understand, or I'm not being able to find this, or those kinds of questions. To do that in a safe environment when you know that, you've talked that over with your parent, what do you think? And so they can advocate for themselves, and that skill is huge.
That is absolutely, yes. And you mentioned a little bit about costs. So what is the cost of dual enrollment, and how does that save money for parents?
Sure. So right now, and we have scholarships that are funded through a grant from the legislature.
That's great.
So we don't know what the cost may be from year to year because it depends on our grant award.
Okay.
But for fall of 25 and spring of 26, students can take general education courses for $100. And that $100 includes any required textbook or access code for the class. So you're looking at saving, it's over an 80% savings for the course, even at $100. Now, we do have several career and technical education programs that we have special scholarships for. So they are scholarshiped at 100%. So there's no out-of-pocket cost for the student. So anything that's needed for those courses is covered. And so lots of great opportunities, whether a student is looking to transfer and go to a 4-year university to complete their education, or if they're going to pursue one of our career and technical education programs, earn the AAS degree here at Jefferson State, and then join the workforce.
Okay. And how would a student know which track they might want to go? Would they go to a counselor? How do they know? Do they want to go CTE or what, what direction? How do they know that?
That's a good question.
That is a great question. Well, so, if you know that you're going to go to a 4-year college, really the core classes, you're not going to go wrong with those. You can gain even further confidence about those classes being transferable by visiting alabamatransfers.com. The state funds community colleges, but the state also funds the 4-year state colleges. And so they have built that website so that they speak to one another. That is a wonderful tool, alabamatransfers.com. And so they're not random classes. They can actually answer 2 questions on there. What university and what degree, and they can see that, okay, that is actually going toward a degree at a 4-year college and at a 2-year college. And so that's a confidence builder. As far as exploring what it is that they want to take from the CTE level, that's the career technical education pathways. Those pathways are beautiful because normally they take about 6 classes to complete one of those pathways in the short certificate. They're buildable. So you can get the short certificate, build it to the certificate, and build it to the AAS degree. Now, the community college has an associate degree. That's either an Associate of Arts and Associate of Science, which is transferable, or the AAS degree is Associate of Applied Science. And so that's where you're going to get those hands-on classes. So for those students who know that, yes, I can do an English and a math and an academic, but they really prefer to do hands-on, then they're going to track with that AAS. They're going to track with our CTE program. They can actually graduate cap and gown at our commencement ceremony at Jeff State with that short certificate. And so they can feel that milestone and get connected in the workforce, in the workplace, having that credential. And so that's great. So I think that they will know, okay, I'm this type of learner or that type of learner. This is this is where I see my vision, go into a 4-year school or go into the community college and into the workforce. And so I think that would be a good one. The website is great. They can go to the career programs from our Jefferson State website and click on those programs. The program pages have their own faculty advisors on there. Our programs that are listed on the dual enrollment page, we've got the scholarships listed there. They can click directly to those programs. And so our advisors love our students, and so they can talk culinary, they can talk welding, the biomedical. They love the students, and so they're the best ones. A lot of those instructors have actually been in the workforce and come back to invest in the community through Jefferson State. And so they have a unique perspective that they can answer questions that we wouldn't be able to answer because we haven't been in their shoes.
That's great. And you mentioned Alabama transfers as being a tool for our students. Are there other tools or resources that Jeff State offers for dual enrollment students?
Absolutely. So that's one of the ones that they use when they're getting started because it does help them select courses. Of course, they work closely with their high school counselor to make sure that the courses they select are also fulfilling the requirements that they need for their high school graduation requirements. But as a dual enrollment student, they are a full Jefferson State student, just like anyone else who attends Jeff State.
Right.
So any of our resources are available to them. They have hours that can be used on tutor.com. We have tutoring here on campus. There's online tutoring options. There's a writing center where they can submit essays that they have to write for a class and have them reviewed before they submit them for their assignment. The libraries and the Learning Success Center have wonderful staff with them. They are always eager to help students. The library page even has a chat that you can chat with a librarian if you're needing help doing some research. We also have a Student Success Center. So if they have issues where maybe they're needing some mental health resources, that's a great place for students to reach out and take advantage of those resources there. And then what we like to tell students is their greatest resource at Jeff State for their academics really is their instructor for the class that they're in. And then, of course, our office, we are always eager to help students in any way that we can.
Oh, absolutely. So you did mention welding. So I've heard a story, and tell me if it's true or not, but we have had students that maybe were in the welding program that graduated from Jeff State prior to graduating from their high school. Is that true?
That is true. Not this past year, but the year before, we had 2 welding students from Pinson Valley High School who graduated with their degree. Now, we've had several who have graduated with a short certificate, but these students actually earned the entire AAS degree before they graduated from high school.
That's incredible.
One of those students went straight to the workforce. The other student decided he wanted to work in welding while pursuing a 4-year degree, so he is at UAB studying business to pair that with his welding degree.
That's wonderful. So immediately hired. That's what what you're saying. So dual enrollment is growing like crazy. Can you tell us a little bit about that growth and what those stats might be like at Jeff State?
Sure. So I started in dual enrollment in December of 2020. So my first fall was fall of 21. And that year we had just over 2,200 dual enrollment students. And I thought it was a lot. I was like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do with all these students? But I had no idea what was in store for us. So Greta came along that October and joined our team, and she is a good recruiter because now we have just shy of 4,400 students in fall of 2025. So it truly has grown. It's just become the thing to do. All of the counselors are excited about it. Parents are excited about it. Sometimes they're even more excited than the students are about it. But it's important for the students to be excited about it and want to pursue that. But yes, we are excited about the growth that we are seeing. And students are doing great things in dual enrollment.
And do you think that growth is just going to continue?
You know, I keep saying that it's got to plateau at some point because there truly is a finite number of 10th through 12th grade students in our service area. But I'm not sure what that number is. I do think that it's going to continue to grow, but it's got to slow down at some point. It can't continue to take the leaps that it's been taking every fall. But as that growth slows, that doesn't mean that our office slows down. So much of our office, we all have a heart for students and student success. So we really are focusing now, we're not focusing on numbers, and we never were focusing on numbers. It's all about students and lives that can be changed because of their experience in dual enrollment. And so what we're doing now is trying to make this a better experience for students, whether it's making little tweaks to our registration process, which we did this year by making all of our forms digital. This coming fall, we're going to have pathways built out for some of our most popular majors. So we're getting ready to have that, so a student doesn't wonder, well, what do I need to take? We've always kind of offered a list of classes, but now we're going to say, hey, if this is your major, this is what we recommend you take the first semester, this is the second semester. And so we think that's going to help students feel more confident. Like she said, with Alabama transfers, this is just another way for them to feel confident about the courses they are taking and that they're going to work for them after they finish high school and move into just college.
That's great. So are there any misconceptions with dual enrollment that students may have or parents may have?
Well, I would say that sometimes I think they get a little confused about the course being a high school course because they are in high school. They maybe don't quite grasp the fact that this is the college course and it is allowed to be on the high school transcript. So I'll get questions, hey, I just finished, maybe Spanish at the high school. What Spanish do I register for at the college level? And so there is a hard divide between college and high school. So the credits don't work both ways, and I think that can be a misunderstanding sometimes. We can pull a college class and count it on a high school, but there are extra steps if something is articulated, to go the other way. So I think that's it. I think that that you need to make all A's is another one. That one concerns me because I don't want to see students withdrawing from a class because they are concerned that they may not make an A in the class. We're more and more, I think, getting more educated in the community about what a withdrawal is. It doesn't harm your GPA, but it does harm your completion rate, and that is just as important. We don't ever want to see an attempted class not finished. And so a college success is a C or above in a college level course. And so I think to have a mindset that you're taking a college class, not a high school class, is a big one. Also, I think, what are some other misconceptions?
I think maybe not a misconception, but a place where people have to learn is that the college is different from the high school. The college class is different from the high school. And so if the student has an obligation at the high school that is maybe an extracurricular activity that they want to participate in, but it's at the same time as their test in their college class, they don't automatically get an excuse for that test because of something that's happening at the high school.
Right.
And I think that can be hard for students to adjust to. And also the fact that the deadlines for assignments at the college are firm deadlines. So it's not, oh, well, I had this going on last night, so can I turn this in later? And so I think that's a difficult transition. It may not be a misconception, but it's definitely a difficult transition for students.
Okay. I know students are pretty familiar with AP classes, being at the high school. So how do AP classes and how do dual enrollment classes differ?
Well, an AP class will run all year long. And then at the end, in order to receive the college credit, there is a test. And then depending on what you score on that test, then that college that you will be attending has a guideline for what they'll accept for that credit. So even if one school accepts a credit on AP, you have to also look at, are you going to go to another school, because that credit will have to be received in comparison to their standards. So that one is an all year, and it relies on a test. And the test does have a cost to it. The dual enrollment is a semester, and the grade is a C or higher. There is a transferable credit earned. And so you have a bird in the hand completing at the end of that course successfully. So, and one semester, is is that whole year's worth of credit on the high school transcript if that is an agreed upon course at your high school.
Okay. And you mentioned semesters, so it could be multiple semesters. Like you could do multiple classes in dual enrollment, correct?
Sure. So like an 11th grader might choose to do English 101 and 102. So in the fall, English 101, spring, English 102, and, choreograph that with their counselor to count as 11th grade English and 12th grade English, which would free up then them to move on to a literature so that they wouldn't become cold necessarily on their academics as far as their language arts is concerned. It would just progress on. So, you can use that but I want to be careful to say that we don't ever do any academic counseling from the high school diploma side. Okay. All we can do is talk about Jefferson State Community College and use tools to help them navigate that. But their transcript and how they graduate from high school has to be used on the high school side for that guidance.
Okay. So the best thing to do is go to your high school counselor, talk to them about it, check out the website, learn more that way. Is there anything else that you would like to cover regarding dual enrollment?
I would just like to encourage anybody who's interested, please check out our website. It is jeffersonstate.edu/DE, like dual enrollment. There's a lot of information there, scholarships. Some courses that students take may require a placement score. There's information about what they can do for placement. There's some tutorial videos for our students who are already enrolled and needing help with different things. So lots of information on that website, as well as scholarship information and anything that you want, the latest information, that is where you're going to find it. So even if your student comes home with a postcard or some kind of printed information or marketing from us, definitely go to the website because that's going to be the latest and greatest information on dual enrollment at Jeff State.
That's great. We appreciate you both so much for being here today. And we also wanted to say a big thank you to Lumina Foundation for giving us the opportunity to have this podcast. So thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having us.